Digital ladies breaking the chain, rising in crypto, we're changing the game. Crypto frontier, we're claiming our space. Not your keys, not your crypto, know your place. Unscripted, we're bold, we're free. Melissa Key, the Lady K, and Opti. Dip a toe, come ride this wave. Digital wealth, we're here to pay.
Crypto nights, we're lighting a spark. As we ignite now, we're setting the mark.
Safety first, we're keeping it tight. Blockchain power, we're shining the light. Unscripted, we're bold, we're free. Melissa Key, the Lady K, and Opti. Dip a toe, come ride this wave.
Oh, welcome to Digital Ladies Unscripted. How are you guys doing this evening?
Oh my gosh, just singing that song. I saw Miss Optimistic Prime singing right along with me. I swear I love that theme song. So good.
It always puts me in a good mood right before we go on listening to it. I wish it was the whole song, but because this is a 1 hour show, we need every minute we can get, probably, because there's so many things. There's so many things that we always want to talk about. We did want to mention, who wants to say what's coming up at the end of January?
Ooh.
I was just going to say that when we're together, we should totally do like a little a cappella of like the Melissa Keto, Lady K, and Opti, that whole line, and then like have it superimposed at one point, like we're singing along with the song.
Ooh, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
Well, you know what's going to be awesome too is that we're all going to be together, so we'll be able to take some real pictures of us together, like for real, instead of the hodgepodge of pictures that I have for our photos.
Lighting all over the different place. Everybody has a different lighting, and yeah, I didn't even think about that. We have to absolutely every day do like a couple fun pictures too. So yeah, we're all going to hang out in the same house in 1 month, right? Like a month and a week.
Yeah, and then listen, and the cool part is we have some really great like photo op opportunities, right? We've got the pool, we've got the house, we've got the game room. We have all kinds of really, really cool places to be in the house to have some really great photo ops. So I'm excited.
I'm so excited. Well, we've got 17 people in here tonight, guys. Welcome to Digital Ladies Unscripted. Tonight's show is going to be an interesting one. None of us are experts. We'll preface it by saying that. But have you guys ever wondered what IPFS files really are? They're not your typical cloud stored docs. They're content address gems stored across global peer-to-peer networks, making data immutable, resilient, and censor resistant. We're going to attempt to break it down simply. How IPFS shifts us from fragile centralized servers to a distributed web where files live forever as long as someone's sharing them, and why it's going to be the backbone of Web3, NFTs, and decentralized apps. It's game-changing. It has potential for faster, more secure internet. From real-world wins like permanent archiving and outage-proof access to its role in empowering creators and builders, we're going to chat about why IPFS could be the key to tomorrow's truly open web. Huh? There we go. There's the intro. Can we live up to the expectations of the show is the question.
I was going to say, sounds a lot like blockchain, eh?
I'm just saying. You know, one of the things that's really important when I was researching, I've kind of known about these for a while. I didn't realize it was called IPFS. I didn't understand what that was really. But back in the day when my boys were little, they were doing the LimeWire and the BitTorrent and all of these things, the file sharing. And mom kind of got involved too. And, you know, downloading a file where it's coming from multiple sources, you know, and it couldn't be stopped really. It was like, this is super cool. Like if I want to share something with you, I can. You can't stop me from sharing it. And so I've always been really interested in that. And then the time that I was making my NFT with you, Opti, the 9-hour space that we did. God, it was 9 hours, wasn't it?
It's crazy.
9
time.
hours.
Yeah, but we talked.
Guys.
It was like an after space too. So we talked on a normal after space for like 3 or 4 of those hours, and then the 5 extra hours were us doing.
And but I'll tell you what we did was through doing, right? Because people learn through doing. We were doing, and I had my issue where my my NFT that I had created on XRP Cafe disappeared. Part of the file, and we decided to. We can't wait to meet you and see you in Florida either, Team Green.
Exciting! He's coming.
And I'm so excited.
He is.
But,
Mr. Cake, Mr. Sam, Mr. Man, like what?
Stone.
Stoney.
Oh my
Get
goodness.
bed with Mr. Man and his wife. I'm so
Oh
excited.
my goodness. I'm so excited.
But so through having that happen, where part of my NFT was broken, Opti and I went to BitHomp, and I'm probably saying that wrong. BitHomp.
I think it's BitHomp.
Yeah. So we went there, and I saw my file was still there. And through our discovery of all of this, we ran across the term IPFS, and it's like, well, what is this? And it's like, this is the part of what all of the things that we're trying to do now, and making things immutable where they can't take it down, they can't censor you. This is why this is so important. So anybody want to talk about why IPFS, what it is? Anyone want to take that?
I don't have the outline in front of me, so you'll have to read it. One
I
of you
can
guys.
actually do that. That's not a problem. I just have to hop over to my other side. Okay, so IPFS. It says in an overview of IPFS, it says it stands for Interplanetary File System. It's a decentralized protocol designed to store and share files across a global network of computers, making the web more resilient and efficient by replacing traditional location-based addressing like URLs with content-based addressing, where files are identified by their unique cryptographic hash rather than their server location.
Okay, can we talk about that for 1 second?
Sure.
I watched a couple of videos on this, and I will put them in the show notes. And when I get a minute, I'll put them in the chat so people can watch them too. But my understanding of this is that, right now, wherever you are retrieving a file from, the URLs, they're housed somewhere based on that address, right? If that website goes down, whoever is hosting that particular file, you can't access it anymore. And there were, who was it? I think it was Turkey. Turkey went against, what is it? The one where you put all the information, Wikipedia. I think it was Wikipedia, right? They banned Wikipedia. They wouldn't allow Wikipedia to be seen by their people. And somebody took all of the content from that and put it in a decentralized way through this file share system. So they archived everything so that they still had access to all of the information using this IPFS system. And that's pretty powerful, right? Because you can't take it down. Once it's there, you can't take it down. And it goes off of where it says they're identified by their unique cryptographic hash rather than the server location. So in a file sharing type of environment, from what I understand, the actual file has that cryptographic hash. And then if I were to send it to somebody and they wanted to make sure that it was the actual original file that hadn't been altered by anybody, all they would have to do is verify that cryptographic hash is actually what I sent, the same. So you have the original document. And so they are saying that is like the built-in security aspect of it as well, because you're able to verify it through the actual cryptographic hash of the document or file or whatever that you've used this IPFS system for. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And I'll say this, like, okay, so as far as like the old way, right? I mean, you create a file, you create a website, any of those things are just data and it's stored on somebody's computer, somebody's server. The URL is how the web, routes you to where that file is stored. So this is saying it's going to route you to a hash rather than the actual server location like it has been. So that's very interesting. And if it's a cryptographic hash, then it's probably encrypted too, right? And then being able to match the hash, that I wonder, because you said it's immutable. So I'm wondering if that is the part that's immutable or because the hash can't be changed.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. And it's like when you get the CID, which is I read it earlier what it stands for.
Comments in the thing. Holy smoke. Sorry guys. I was like,
no problem. It's probably in your list of things. Anyways, once you put the IPFS up, you get a CID and all you have to do is click that and then put IPFS : / like it's an HTTPS or HTTPS. Yeah, it's what we always have done. This is Web 3. So Web 2 is Web. Sorry, what?
No, that's what XRP is, right? It's a protocol at the internet level. So same thing. Very interesting.
Yeah, and so the IPFS system, it operates on a peer-to-peer network, a P2P network. So unlike centralized systems where data is stored on specific servers, like we just talked about, like Google and Amazon, how they can take you down, IPFS allows any participating computer, which is a node, and Lady K, you're very familiar with running nodes, right? So if you're a participating computer, a node, to host and retrieve files directly from others, it reduces single points of failure and enables faster access through nearby peers, similar to back in the BitTorrent days, how they were sharing files, but it has added permanence and versioning. So this is the other thing that I learned today too, is that so once you put a file up, that's it. It's immutable. It's there forever. However, you can do versions. So if you want to update a file, you can do version 2, version 3, however you want to name it or whatever. But it will still have all of the history of the previous files, which is pretty. I mean, it's a solution to a lot of issues, depending on whatever kind of filing system that you use. I could see this being helpful to a wide variety of people, right? For different use cases. So
I mean, this sounds no different than blockchain, right? Like the nodes get the transactions, the nodes store the transactions, right? Full history node stores all the this is no different because it's a protocol level. You send it in, the nodes store it, and then it can be retrieved by the hash.
And the decentralized part of it is that you and I can sign up and become a node, and we can decide if anybody has room on their computer to host files for the file sharing part. And the part that I don't really understand yet, and I'm sure as we dive in, excuse me, not today. I'm not going to get it all today. And maybe if there's some more savvy folks out there in the chat, if they could explain it. I know somebody like Nerdy X would be somebody that could probably explain this really well to us. But you don't. If you're hosting someone's file in your computer, it's not like you can click it and open it. Like it's you could do whatever you want with the file. The way that I'm understanding it, you're just simply using that you're a node to host that file, that when somebody is wanting to retrieve the file with that specific hash, it will go to them, and the more people that do this, the stronger the network would be, right? Because there'd be so many different folks. So I would think the implementation of this was to get would be to get a lot of folks to be willing to do it, right? To be willing. Same thing with anything else. Like we said with the blockchain, somebody's got to be willing to run an XRP ledger node, right? Somebody's got to be willing to mine Bitcoin or whatever these other blockchains are. So this is just a really interesting aspect.
I think what you're talking about is it's encrypted, because it goes on to talk about like SHA-256. So it's encrypted, and in that case, the nodes wouldn't be able to open it unless they had the key.
Yeah, see? The other thing, so Keita, did you have anything that you wanted to add? I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to cut you off. I thought I saw you looking like so the other thing is, I don't know which one of you mentioned the CID, which is what is it? The content unique identifier. So the content addressing is the key to its functionality. So I think it was you, Abdi, because you said the CID. So every file,
as opposed to the DID, which is decentralized ID, right? Or digital ID.
Yeah. So every file or piece of data gets a unique identifier, a CID, based on its content via the hashing algorithms like SHA-256. So yes, you were right, Lady K. This means if the content changes, the address changes too, ensuring data security and making it easy to verify that what you download is exactly what was intended without relying on trusted intermediaries. And this could be for anything. How many times have we seen a photo or something where someone has altered it and you want to verify that it's the legit photo? We have those things out there where you can see where this photo came from and all of that. But what if you could actually see that the original photo that was uploaded on a specific date or whatever, this is the photo? And then you could tell that it's been altered, forevermore.
Right. We need that. I mean, with the technology that we have now and AI and the deep fakes and whatever, all that, something like this could really come in handy to know like what is real and what is not, because we live in a world right now where it's very hard to tell what is real and what is not.
And I agree with that. I totally agree with that, because from what I've seen lately, some of the videos that we have seen, I'm like, okay, I literally in the comments will ask Grok, like, is this real or is this AI? Because it is so many things out here that's not real that they're putting out as though it is a real viable video. And you find out that it was a lie, or even just some of the pictures that are associated with it aren't even true. Like they'll even have where it looks like it's a picture and it's got the creases, but the creases are fake. Like,
another thing before we move on is that this is also interesting for information and data, right? Like I talked about this with ZK proofs, like being able to shield the contract information, but then proving that's putting it on the blockchain and then proving that's it. And you do that with a hash. So this is the same thing. This is the same concept. You can put a file on there. You can prove it's that file and that it wasn't changed by the hash. And think of all the different documents we could use for that.
Absolutely. IPFS enables a more permanent and censorship resistant web, because the files aren't going to disappear if a server goes down, because if they're distributed across the multiple nodes like we just talked about, and that would be crucial for applications like decentralized websites, in our NFTs, which store metadata off chain, archiving important data as seen in projects like Filecoin, which incentivizes storage with cryptocurrency. Filecoin is something I would love to have on Dipotosho. I need to learn more. I've known about Filecoin for a long time now. I have stuff sent to my inbox and I've been so busy. It's one of those things, guys, where, I'm in so much research and I learn about so many things, and there's only so many hours in the day to research. But don't sleep on Filecoin, and not financial advice. I'm just saying, learn about the technology, like what they're doing. They've been around for a long time,
And they have.
implementing things. That have also been around for a long time. Like we talked about BitTorrent. So yes, did you want to say something, Opti?
Yeah. Okay. So Filecoin, I was looking that up today too, and because I was trying to figure out all the different places I can do the IPFS and minting the NFT. I ended up there today, and what I think it was called Filecoin Use Store, if I'm not mistaken, and that was their sort of like what this, the Filecoin supports. And what I gathered from like my brief sort of going over is it was much more designed for, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, don't quote me, but it was like the cost was like like terabytes.
Mm.
So it was like, how much terabytes do you want to own? And that was the pricing. So we're looking at giant corporations. Right now I'm looking at 1 gig to 5 gigs to 25 gigs to 125 gigs on like Sriracha or Pinata kind of thing, where Filecoin, I think, is more, geared towards giant corporations who need to store,
Large
terabytes.
amount.
Yeah. 100, 200, 300. Like I was like, whoa, there's so much data. And then I was going to say earlier about the decentralized, keeping the files. For me, it's the truthers, it's the videos of the stuff that they don't want you to see. There's a lot of videos that have been coming up these days that I saw 5 years ago. And I'm like, yay, thank gosh, that's still around, because so many things I saw were immediately removed, scrubbed from the internet. And so if we had like a little aspect of the Wandering Footprint, like the Blue Umbrella Treehouse truthing aspect, where we pinned, and that's what they call it, pinning a an IPFS. So allowing the, and I was thinking if all of the members had a node and we all pinned the files of each other's. So like all of our NFT content and any of our, all of the shows, the Tipato shows, all of the, all the things that we have created to keep them somewhere long, sort of into the future. And that could be an aspect of the Wandering Footprint where we help teach people how to do, host a node for the XRPL and how to host a node for IPFS. And then, obviously down the road have dedicated servers that allow for us to also host the content. But what I heard, Melissa, what I read and what I understood it to be is you can be a node and just pin, like be without needing the storage aspect. But I don't know exactly how that works. I'm still learning more, but yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, I mean,
I also see little downfalls. Just so you know, like while you were talking, I'm like, well, I could see this might be an issue in this way and this way and this way. So I don't know if we're going to talk about that later on tonight, but pros and cons.
We might. Well, I guess there's a lot of ways that you could use this, right? Even like you said with Filecoin in particular, where you're talking terabytes of data, right? But what if you had a pool of people that were willing to buy that storage and host all of those videos, save all of those videos, right? A terabyte is a lot of storage, but when you start talking about video files, there's so many. There's so many. They're so large, I should say, or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact is that it could be a tool that, if folks band together, maybe they could afford something like that, or just even learning a little bit on your own. Because the fact of the matter is, if Google or any of these other platforms or storages want to remove access for you, or something happens, like something as little as XRP Cafe deleting my collection, they broke it on their site only. I mean, it was still, the IPFS was still there on BitHump, but if you want to be able to know that you're saving something forever, ever, this is a real world solution to that. And it's definitely worth everybody learning as much as you can about it now. in my opinion. Integration with other technologies, the IPFS system works well with blockchain for Web3 applications, which will then allow decentralized apps where users control their data. For example, it's used in platforms like Ethereum for storing large files efficiently, and tools like IPFS Gateway let traditional browsers access IPFS content without running a node. And so when I read that, let traditional browsers access IPFS content without running a node, I'm wondering if that is like how we were able to go to BitThump itself and view the IPFS. I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but that's what popped in my head when I read that.
Yeah, like you can read it like an HT, like you could, so you can actually have, I don't have it written in front of me. I don't know exactly what it is, but like HTTPS, :/ and then something like in my case, like Pinata Cloud with a couple other numbers, and then it's /IPFS. So it's allowing Web 2 to communicate with Web 3 at this point. Like there is a bridge between the two languages, but it's still the IPFS. Just it's allowing. I don't know if you remember this in 2020. There was some guy. There was like, I remember it popping up, and it was like this guy who originally helped create the internet. I don't know who that is, but somebody might. And he's like, I hate this I hate this centralization. I hate this censorship. I'm going to create Web 3. And I'm starting to realize like Web 3 was being created, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. We're starting to catch up to like how it was created and what this all sort of means and how these things all tie together. And then the public was told this in 2020, and that what we're seeing is like, yeah, exactly the technology behind blockchain, everything that you've explained to me, Lady K, about the nodes and consensus and how these things work and why we're missing those, those few things from the beginning and why that happened, and all these little pieces coming back to this IPFS and understanding that like NFTs are made with this code, right? You have to have an IPFS to make an NFT. And ultimately, if you're coding, it has to be in hexadecimal. And if you're using an NFT, platform, you put an IPFS link. And that what I understand, Melissa, is it's fragmented. That's the thing, is that if you're hosting, you're not hosting the file. Many people are hosting many different parts of the file, and then they cache it. And so that's where you're not crawling, is because the crawling, when an image isn't crawled on, one of the NFT platforms, it's because it hasn't gone out and picked up all the pieces to bring it together to pin it.
Yeah.
In my understanding.
And that's touching on something I want to say. When I was listening to it, it was like each little piece was it 25 megabytes
I think it was like 256 or something.
Or 256 megabytes each file. So they take your file and it gets broken down into individual pieces of no more than 256 megabytes. I think I'm saying the right amount.
It's sharded. That's why the node can't open the full file. Not that it's encrypted. And it does make sense that the browser would be able to access it, because the browser is just the gateway. Like you type in the address, the URL is actually pointing to an IP address the server is located on. So it makes total sense that in a browser you'd be able to put this hash and then find the file, because the browser is just like, give me the address of where the information or the file or the content you're trying to get to is, right? And Web3 to me actually more means, because this is all internet protocol, this is all web, right? But like Web3 to me is more like we're going into this decentralized web where it was centralized, right? Data servers had to hold everything and whatnot. So to me, Web3 is decentralization, and it's also, the protocols of transferring value over the internet for the first time.
Mm-hmm. And every piece of that file, I think that's an individual CID. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Or the CID is the name of the file, is the hash that it's assigned?
Yes. So you
And then-
copy that and then you put IPFS : / and then you put the CID. And so that's how, like, when I'm trying to do it quickly right now, when I'm making my NFTs, I copy because it's really strange. When you copy it in Pinata, it doesn't give you IPFS : / it just gives you the CID. So I have to write that in every time I'm minting an NFT is the IPFS. So what I'm doing is I'm actually just, you know, pasting the previous one, because it'll pop up, oh, do you want this one? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll stick that in, and then I'll double click and then put in the CID. Just replace the CID, because you know how that, like, when you're doing a web, like when you're doing a URL, how you can just click on the main part and it won't highlight the beginning part. So that's how I'm doing it. So yeah, so every file requires that CID portion. So then I can get into the, yeah. Do you have anything else to say before I explain the rest?
Well, I think so. My question is on that, because I know that it's going to grab that. So even though it's broken up into little pieces, like what Lady K was saying, the reason it can't open it is because it's only a piece of the file or whatever. It's like it's all these different pieces, but they're all going to have the same hash. And so it's going to be when you get the whole file, when they all come together, it's the entire file then, right?
Okay, I can explain that.
Do you believe that part of this has to do with the whole ISO 222 also messaging standard as well, where it has those enhanced messaging?
I bet you if you looked up, does ISO 20022 standards have IPFS connected to them? I bet you hear yes. I mean, I think anything that's moving into the Web3 space is being hosted through this file system. That's what I would assume. But yeah, you should look it up. You should Google it and see. But I would say that it would say yes.
Google it.
About that.
What were you going to say, Lady K?
Well, I was going to explain that. And so, like, okay, take a lease, for example, right? Like your lease agreement, right? And break it up, in one page per file, and it goes over all these nodes. Okay, you take that lease agreement before you break it up and you run it through hash, and all that information is given a hash, a unique hash. So then you break it up and you spread it out, and then you bring it back together. You run it through the hash again. If all the information is exactly the same, you will get the same exact hash. If one letter is changed, the hash will be different. So that's how the hash verifies the content of the data.
So if the hash is different, then does it then trigger a reason to be able to go back and fix the original? Or is it that now it has a different hash just because of the fact that that information has been changed?
Yep.
It has a different, so so if I'm going to send you a file and you're expecting it to be this hash, and you get something in your inbox or however it's sent to you, and you look at it and it's one letter is off, it's not the same hash. That's not the document that I was telling you I'm sending you. Right? It means some piece of that document's been altered.
Even if everything else is the same, that means that there's something that has been changed in that particular document that now actually offers you the reason to now question.
Absolutely. Yep.
Now, I don't know.
That's the way I understand it anyway, guys. That's the way
I'm understanding it. That's the way I'm getting that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it would be interesting to find out, but I don't know how one would like create one and then the very next version would be the same letters and numbers. Like every time you do it, it's like getting a wallet. Like it's so you're saying that 56 letters and numbers. And then like if I want change. Pardon me?
You're saying that it should change every time.
No. So every CID has this, long string. If I'm going to, so right now I'm making, so let's just get into what I'm learning on a practical, or do you want to do how to explain to a 5-year-old, Melissa?
You know what? I think that would be very good because how they explain it by to a 5-year-old might be helpful.
All right. We'll go through these babies. You want to take the first one, Keita?
Sure. All right. So it says explaining IPFS to a 5-year-old. IPFS is like big magic library, is like a big magic library where books find you. Imagine the internet is a huge library, but instead of books being stuck on one shelf that might break or get lost, IPFS lets copies of the books float around to all your friends' houses. So you can always borrow one nearby. And the book's special name is made from what's inside it, like a fingerprint. So you know it's a real story and not a fake.
I mean, that made sense. You're muted,
That
Lady
totally
K.
makes sense.
In this, the fingerprint is the hash, right? And copies are being sent to all the different nodes, but it doesn't say it shards it. So does it shard it or not? I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't know if sharding is just the technical word of breaking something up, right? I mean, that's what I think. I think that's what. So we'll have to look and see, like look up sharding IPFS and see if that's the term they use. Because I didn't hear the guy say that, but that doesn't mean that it's not true because sharding is breaking up, right? So
And I will say I have heard of sharding. And the first time I ever heard of
He's
sharding,
making me want to laugh.
it's a terrible
sounds
word.
bad. It sounds really bad when you say it out of your mouth.
Multiple
Like-
meanings exist.
I think I told my kids today, you know.
Right. So sharding.
Okay, I don't know another word for breaking it up.
Sharding with
guess
a
that's
D
another
is
word.
completely different than what you probably have heard elsewhere.
Think of that what about Bob joke.
What about Bob?
But at the same
Who has
time,
a
when it
dirty
comes
mind?
down to it, I have heard of sharding before many times. And especially when I first got into the digital asset and cryptocurrency space, I heard of sharding when people started talking about how to be able to protect your digital assets and cryptocurrencies. And one of the things that
Shard
they
it out.
talked about was sharding your actual I see the laugh.
Shard it out.
I
Just
thought
shard
that-
it out.
I wasn't even thinking the other one until you brought it up.
I'm dying over here. Okay, my eyes are watering.
You
Like
want
I just.
your security? You gotta shout it out. Just shout it out. Just shout it out. You know what I'm saying? Huh?
You are not helping whatsoever. when you start
Together? Oh my god. Anyway,
You guys are so immature. I'm just saying.
yeah, you're perpetuating it. You're perpetuating it. I just had to laugh at the beginning and tell you that I just could not stop. Oh, anyways, continue on, Kita. The sharding continues.
No boss, computer in charge. Normally,
okay, so-
when you want a picture or video online, you ask one big computer, like a king, centralized control, to give it to you. But if the king is busy or asleep or goes down, you're stuck with IPFS. Everyone shares with everyone, like kids passing toys around at recess. So you get what you need faster and nobody can stop the fun. And this is why I say it's exactly like the blockchain in the sense where, right, all nodes store the ledger. So, even if one goes down, you still have the full ledger, same concept. All nodes store the files.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it
So long as something is pinned so long as one node pins it, it will exist. Which is why
it's not broken apart.
Oh.
Yeah, because to me, the sharding means that it's been broken apart. There's multiple pieces of it. And in order for you to be able to utilize it, all pieces have to be in place. Or
so what I understand though, when
have to be in place.
when it's saying pinning, what I'm understanding is that it's saying these are all the pieces. So the pieces are all floating still, but the person who pins it says these are all the pieces and this is where you find it.
Well, yeah. Maybe I have a different understanding of what sharding is. My interpretation of what sharding is that all pieces have to be in place in order for that particular thing to go in, to go
Yeah.
through. So like,
Yeah,
for
exactly
instance, when I
that.
heard about sharding, I was thinking about it from the vantage point of, if you have a wallet, right? And you want for there to be multiple pieces, multiple people in place in order to be able to validate that particular wallet, then you would shard, meaning like there would be different people that had pieces of the actual seed phrase or whatever it is, and they all come together in order for that particular seed phrase to go into, to be, viable, and you couldn't
Yeah,
do
when
it
I think of it,
otherwise, like a multi-sig.
when I think of it, I think of breaking a glass, like glass, and each person having a piece of the
Shards.
the mirror,
Yes.
and then you have to bring it all together to make the mirror actually work.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's exactly
I
what
agree.
I'm saying. That's exactly
agree.
what I'm saying.
And I don't necessarily think that the same node couldn't have all the pieces of the puzzle, right? Of whatever. I mean, it's going to be better and faster if more have it everywhere.
Well, okay, so here let's get into what I have been doing. So what I've understood is that, okay, so why do some NFTs crawl on XRP Cafe and some do not? This is the difference between pinning and not pinning. It's there, but it hasn't been pinned by XRP Cafe yet. So XRP Cafe hasn't pulled all the pieces together and cashed it. I think that's the proper word. Cashed it. So they have to crawl through the IPFS. So they have to notice that there's something that it needs to crawl. Then it has to crawl. It has to read the IPFS address. It has to go out and find all the shards. And then it has to come back and then it has to pin it. And so now when you open that NFT, it just pops up because it's already been there, done that. I think it's like a cookie almost. Like what pinning looks like. So pinning is not the hosting aspect of it. Pinning is the recall. So when they're explaining why is it interplanetary, because for me that was the big deal. When I found out that IPFS was interplanetary, I was like, what is happening, guys? Oh, somebody in the comments?
I don't know.
No? Oh, your reaction was
yeah. Well, because I have something to say about that. So keep going.
Oh, say them. Say interrupt me now.
No, so what I was listening to today, in this video that I'm going to post in the comments, I think it was a couple of years ago, but basically they were testing and thinking about, could they host IPFS storage on Mars, and how long would it take? Right? So it takes, I think they said,
4 minutes on a good day, 47 minutes on a bad day.
Yeah, and he said something about 8 minutes, 8 minutes, and 8 minutes.
4 minutes here, 4 minutes back. Yeah.
Yeah, and then or on a good day. So that's pretty awesome to even think. We're at that level right now. That if you were on Mars and you were storing, and it's not too far fetched, I guess, right? If we're maybe we can't live on Mars, but we could probably store data there. You know what I mean? We could store files there. So I don't know. I thought that was very interesting, but keep going.
I just looked it up. It does. It breaks the file up into smaller, manageable size bits of data. They call it blocks or chunks. It then distributes them. Each chunk has a CID, and then they all have an underlining CID that links them all together. And interestingly, they call the structure a Merkle DAG, a Merkle directed acrylic graft.
So that's what I thought I heard before about about each piece has a CID, and then the mama CID, right? That is how you would be able to change a page and have it be an updated document, right? Because then if each piece it has its own CID that is underneath the main one, right? The root.
the root hash would be different still. So it wouldn't work.
No, but right. But I guess I'm saying the rest of the stuff would be kept intact. You know what I mean? So like each of those pieces that have their individual CIDs for say for a file, and then yes, you're right. It would change the mama one, but all the other pieces, like you wouldn't have to go back and redo it all. I guess is what I'm saying. If you updated a file, that particular page or whatever would have the additional CID assigned to that piece.
I don't think a page has a CID itself. Like we're talking the breaking apart, like the shattering of glass. So that like it's like all the okay. I'll explain to you what I'm doing in an NFT, and so then maybe you can wrap your head around it. Okay. So basically how it works is when you're minting an NFT, you have to direct. So the XRP ledger can only hold like, I don't remember the exact numbers. I think it was like 256 bit or something like that. Like it has like that's it. That's the code. That's the amount of data. So it asks you to please put in the IPFS address. And then it has some flags to like tell you, if you're burnable, mutable, transferable, only XRP, those basic ones, right? So when I'm putting in the code to make an NFT, I am making it point towards one IPFS. That IPFS is the metadata that when you're clicking on your NFT, when we clicked on that to the URI, and that data that was like title, collection, description, traits, all that information, or how much royalties, or no, sorry, not royalties. What we did our show on, licensing.
ZPK,
Yeah,
licensing.
yeah.
So that's one of those lines on it too. So that that is the CID that it's pointing towards. So that data is not hosted on the XRPL. The XRPL hosts the pinning, and so that pins to the IPFS. The IPFS, if you open it, is the URI metadata that you can see on any of the NFTs. Inside of that is the IPFS for the music and the IPFS for the image or a video, and the IPFS for schema. And the schema, so what I learned, because the first time I did it, Grok said I didn't need it, so I took it out, and then it wouldn't work even on BitHomp, wouldn't even crawl it. So I put it back in, and I just used the same one that was in yours, Melissa, because you were the one that had the GIF and the whole full song. So I just copied yours. And so I just used the same IPFS because the schema was just basically like, this is how we're going to lay out the code. So it could like reference that and then say, okay, this is how the code is going to be laid out. So then I'm going to check that code, see that, and then and then inside of that, there was an IPFS for the music and an IPFS for the image. And so I have to, when I'm making them, I have to upload a GIF to the platform that hosts the IPFS. I get a CID, then I take it into my the node thing, the I can't Visual Studio Code, I think it's called.
Yep.
And that's where you can save a JSON file. So that's where that metadata that you've seen, that's exactly what it looks like, exactly. And except you just, take out the different IPFSs that from the original GIF and music file. So I don't have to change the music file on any of my NFTs. That can just stay the same on every NFT. The only thing that changes when I'm changing it, every one is the number of the name. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the IPFS for the image itself. So then all that gets loaded into the XRPL, and then that's what gets crawled. So it's like 4 layers of it searching for this information. Does that make sense?
You just nailed it.
Okay, so then the last thing
for those before you go further, Opti, can you explain what crawl means to those that don't understand what a crawl is?
It's exactly what we're talking about. Crawl is going and getting all the pieces. That's what I was saying before. So like that's why it's not crawling. because it's going to get all the shards. It's going to pick up all the shards and stick them together the way that they belong in your little tapestry, and then showing you the, you know, the numbers. It's like the Matrix, right? It's showing you the ink spots and the not ink spots on the piece of paper. Yeah. Right. So it's like, it doesn't look like a 0, or it's like everything's a 0 and a 1, really, when you get down to the bottom layer. Right. It's a whole bunch of 0s and 1s, and those are all the shards, and then it brings them all together and shows you.
Yeah, it's the way that those 1s and 0s are put together that kind of allows you to see those shards together. Yeah, just like what you were just saying. That makes total sense.
So, mutable. So what mutable means is I can go in and change the IPFS. That is all. But that's a lot, because ultimately the IPFS, like we were talking about, is the thing that holds the URI. So I can, hypothetically, I haven't done it yet. I'm actually going to try something today, because I think I might have found a little bit of a glitch on on a couple of the NFTs that I've made so far. So I'm actually going to try to use the mutable flag and see if I can actually change the IPFS and if that fixes it. But what that means is what you guys were talking about hypothetically earlier. In my mind, that can't even happen, because I have to re-upload a new URI that has the fix. Now I can keep the song the same and I can keep the image the same, but the URI will be a completely new CID. Therefore, the IPFS that's on XRPL will be a completely different IPFS. So maybe, I don't know, like maybe the data would be stored there, like at this time, this URI pointed to this URI, or sorry, this IPFS. And at this, you know, on this day, it pointed to a different one, so that you could see that this wasn't the original version. Maybe that's what it does. I'm not exactly sure. And I'll let you guys know what I find out.
Okay. It would be great to see how you experiment with that, right? Isn't that what dynamic NFTs are for, so that you could change?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a perfect example. Like, so right now I'm trying to use 2 different platforms to sort of see how they both work. One is Pinata and the other one is Storacha. So Melissa hopefully will get her affiliate link up for Storacha. Basically, differences: Pinata gives you 5 gigs for free, or 1 gig for free. Pinata gives you 5 gigs for free. Or sorry, one more time. Pinata gives you 1 gig for free. Storacha gives you 5 gigs for free. What I am understanding right now is Storacha is really decentralized. Like where they're like, I can't quite figure it out yet. I haven't quite understood it, but I know like Pinata is like the second layer where you can name your files, what you want them to be, and like it's very user friendly. Where Storacha is like, you upload it, it's the CID. Like, I have no idea what the name of that file is.
Well, can I say this? I think this is the difference between doing it yourself and having a service. So if it's not letting you do that, same thing with the, you know, XRP Cafe and all these things. That's kind of, I'm always just describing it as like your window to go into something. They're creating the tools for you to do what you need to do. And on the back end, you know, you don't know what the deal is, right? You are going at a deeper level. You have an understanding of what you're supposed to be looking for, and you could actually do it yourself. So, you know, that I guess as we explore deeper into this in the future, the Storacha and those types of things, they're providing a service. Right? Because, you know, everybody's not a coder and they don't know all this stuff, and they're making it something easy for you to go and do. But you're taking it to a whole nother level, like Norma, like Opti does, huh? So yeah, good for you, girl. That's all I
Well, and finally, you know, because before we finish up, so what I ended up doing is, because XRP Cafe does not have flags on mutable and burnable on single NFTs, I found out that BitHomp does. So that was really interesting for me. And like, I don't know if I said it in this part or before the show, but what the biggest difference between coding it directly on JSON, you know, code on the XRPL.services, I can't remember for some reason what it's called. It's like open transactions or something. The BitHomp converts the hexadecimal. So that's the difference, is if you're coding it actually on the XRPL, it's all converted to hexadecimal. If it's, this is what that next layer of ease is, and then the next layer of ease, and then the next layer of ease, right? And like you said, is you pay for what the front facing platform is to make your life easier, and all the things that I've been trying to figure out for 5 years is like, I didn't know how to, I've been learning how to do it in the background because the front ground hasn't really been created. And hopefully through all of this, we are finding the people that are making the front ground things, and that we can integrate all of those into the Wandering Home directory. That's the goal.
I do want to definitely say, first off, thank you to all of the 181 people who are here hanging out with us this evening. Listening to us discuss these topics this evening. We are thankful for you being here. Opti is totally giving us the rundown of this, and we are so thankful that she has had so much great information concerning these particular topics. Just please make sure that you're hitting that like, share, and subscribe. So that you can don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are always here for you and are super excited about what's coming out every single week with the Digital Ladies Unscripted. We've been talking so long that we didn't even realize 55 minutes, almost 56 minutes have gone by, and we are almost at the close of this show. Oh my goodness. And we will be going into an after dark space. So if you are inclined to continue the conversation, don't forget, we will start that at 10:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the X app. I know that my lovely friend, Miss World Be Free, already has that in play, and we're looking forward to seeing you there. Let's continue this conversation for sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great conversation, guys. I did post the link to the After Dark space. It's on X. It starts at 10:10 Eastern Time. So not too short order here. So if you're interested and you want to talk a little bit more about IPFS, please make sure to join us over there, because we're going to jump over there as soon as this is over. Yeah, man, we have about 2 minutes tops, man. 1 minute,
Not
one
even.
minute,
Not
one minute,
even.
1 minute, 1 minute.
Go subscribe to Digital Ladies Unscripted. It is a channel here on YouTube, and we're trying to get it up too. So please go subscribe there.
Let's go. Any final thoughts, Lady K?
Oh, no, I can't wait to keep this conversation going on the after space.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. Opti, you're amazing. I just want to say that, you're someone that has helped me along. You've pushed me along. I love it that we are into the same stuff. Like all of us ladies, we research something and I actually know what you're talking about. Right. Or, I kind of know what you're talking about. And it's just really exciting to know that, here we are, we just got our lives, we got our own stuff going on, and yet we're finding the time to research this stuff, hash it out, try to figure it out for ourselves. And we've got Opti leading the way with this one, taking the ball and running with it. And hopefully I'm going to be able to nip at your heels and learn how to do it for myself. But guys, thank you so much for coming. Join us over in the after space. We love you all. Have a good rest of the evening and see you next Monday.
Digital ladies breaking the chain, rising in crypto, we're changing the game. Crypto frontier, we're claiming our space. Not your keys, not your crypto, know your place. Unscripted, we're bold, we're free. Melissa, Keita, Lady K, and Opti. Dip a toe, come ride this wave. Digital wealth, we're here to pay.
Crypto nights, we're lighting a spark. As we ignite now, we're setting the mark.
Safety first, we're keeping